We're on air. Let's go.
Love it. Okay, great.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to speak to you a little bit about what our liberation groups are. So liberation groups are support networks for students who often face discrimination and underrepresentation in their day-to-day lives. So that's in their university lives, but also within general society as well. So they kind of meet regularly to share experiences and some of the common struggles that they might face. And they socialise, they support each other, and they also like to educate other people within the university, and do some campaigns as well, to make change for all of the other students that are studying with us. And our liberation groups, although I do kind of oversee what they do, they are led by students, and those students have to identify into those individual groups in order to become leaders. So the way they become a leader is through an election, so that it's a democratic organisation, so we do it through a democratic procedure so that it's nice and fair and everyone is happy with who is leading them. So we'll just go through which liberation groups we have. So first of all, we have MDXSU Black students. So this group represents and makes changes for students of African, Arab, Asian and Caribbean heritage. So an example of one of the campaigns that MDXSU Black students have been doing recently is the Black Lives Matter campaign. So they've been really active in sharing knowledge and information about that topic, and they've been really active on their social media recently, which is really great. The next group is MDXSU disabled students. So they defend the rights and they represent the interests of disabled students at Middlesex University. So it's for anyone who self-identifies as having a disability. So this can be learning difficulties, long-term health conditions or mental health conditions as well. And anyone who identifies as having one of them is welcome to join that group. So an example of one of the activities that they've been doing is kind of improving the accessibility around the campus for disabled students. And then the next one, so we've got MDXSU Women Students Group. So they represent and campaign change for women, both on campus and nationally. So anyone that self-identifies as a woman can join that group. And an example of the campaign that they've done this year is Ask for Angela, which is a campaign to kind of tackle women feeling safe when they're out in bars or in restaurants and that kind of thing. So they got that implemented into our into our student bar. It's not the student union bar, but that was a really great win for them this year. And the final group is MDXSU LGBTQ plus community. So it's anyone who identifies as part of this community, and they often meet up just to share common experiences, to socialise and to campaign too. So they often take part in Pride. Obviously this year we didn't have a physical Pride, which was a bit upsetting, but we did collaborate with lots of other different universities around the UK to do a campus Pride. So that meant that there was still lots of events being offered and there was still lots of things happening for them, which was great.
So back to me, communities are kind of similar to liberation groups, in that they are for students who have like particular experiences, and not face discrimination, or they do face discrimination, but discrimination a different way, in that their experiences are often kind of sidelined in how people view like the normal university undergraduate student. So I like to see the communities as being networks. So as I've said, like they're for students who have particular experiences, they unite those students and they give them the opportunity to meet. I'll go into what the communities are, but a lot of students who belong to these communities don't get the chance to meet each other because they have busy lives, because they might be traveling a long way, because they're doing a different course than most other students. So they're partly kind of a social, like a social space to be able to meet others and share their own experiences. Everything's online now, but before this whole pandemic, we also had lots and lots of online space for students. So we have groups on Facebook, on the MDXSU website, and different kind of socials that students can engage with as well. And that's where like I update people on particular activities. People from different communities can like speak to people on their own community groups, they're kind of like little forums that people can exchange experiences like that, as well as me putting on like events coming up with them. Last year I had 5 interns working for me, representing 5 of the communities that we have at MDXSU. So it's not only like a social space, it's also a chance for people to kind of share their experiences with students on like a wider platform. So to really advocate for other students who have similar experiences to them and be paid for it. So like the interns that I work with, I'll give an example. One of my interns set up like we have a MDXmas market on site for Christmas, and one of my students, who's my commuter students intern, he made little stockings that people could take home, and they had like items that you might need when you're traveling to uni. So they had like some hand sanitizer, a little game, some tissues, some chewing gum, a little bottle of water, all in these little stockings. And that's like a quite a little cute activity that people do, but you can do lots of other things, like people contribute to our working groups and contribute to university discussion on their experiences. So it's a really good opportunity to get involved. So our communities, we have one for international students, so that's anyone who is a non-UK student coming over to study, and whether that's studying from home in their home country or literally coming over to study in England right now. That community caters both people. Parent and carer students, so people who have parental responsibilities, they've got children, or they care for people, and we define carer here as someone who gives unpaid care to people. So they care for someone who's a friend, family, or a partner. Postgrad, so anybody who's doing a postgraduate degree, so that includes people doing PhDs and research-based qualifications, and people doing master's degrees. We also have our community for mature students. That's anyone who's returning to education or who is older than 21 when they're doing the undergraduate degree and 25 when they're doing their postgraduate degree. And there's also our commuter students community. So we define a commuter as someone who travels for more than 40 minutes to get to university. So a lot of our students commute from East London, from North East London, from Croydon, from kind of everywhere across London. So it supports a lot of students. And these are our other 2 little communities that we've just created last year. They've just come into like action really. So healthcare students, that's anyone who's doing nursery or midwifery, and Erasmus exchange students, so that's anybody who's going away for an exchange year, an Erasmus year somewhere else, or people who are currently doing their Erasmus or exchange year at Middlesex. And often if we're having any activities with Erasmus and exchange students, they'll be part of our international students community. So all these communities people define into lots of different ones. You don't just have internationals and parents and carers. Obviously you can be a postgrad, but you're also doing a healthcare qualification, or you commute a long way and you're also a mature student. So these communities, people belong to lots of different types of them, and they can get involved with as much activity or as little as they like. So as I said, there's opportunities to get involved with communities. So attending the events that we put on, and that's a really good way to meet other people and kind of see how the communities work. Running your own event, I'm always happy to speak to students who want to run an event for other community students. I think that's wonderful, and I really advocate for students getting involved with us to do that. Becoming one of my interns and working on research, working on like activity creating for students. So I sit on lots of different working groups across the university, and I'm always taking feedback from community students, those working groups. So I always appreciate community students' input in those meetings. Our focus groups, we collect research, and also our campaigns. As an SU, we run like campaigns every year, and some of them do apply to community students, and sometimes they just really interest community students. So I always make sure that those students like know what campaigns are going on.
So as we said, guys, we want this to try and be like an interactive session. So we want to hear from you guys now. So obviously all of the things that we've just discussed there have something to do with how people identify. So with my group, with the liberation groups, it's how they identify as a Black student, a woman, a disabled student, or part of the LGBTQ plus community. Bells identify as, you know, all those different groups as well. And they are things that students at Middlesex regard as really important about themselves, and they own it and they identify as in that way. So we want to hear from you guys as well. And we want to kind of ask you what sort of things you might expect to, how you might expect them to be supported in their time at Middlesex, and how you yourselves might expect to be supported at Middlesex as well. Belle, do you want to stop sharing your screen a moment, and I'll just take them through the mural. So I'm going to share a link in the chat. If you can click on that link, and you can just get yourselves in there. I don't think you have to sign up, you just literally have to put your name, and then you should be able to join the activity. And what you should see once you're in there is a screen that looks a bit like this. So if everyone can just give me a bit of a thumbs up once they're in, that would be amazing.
Yeah, when you're signing in, you just request guest access. So you sign as a guest, you just put your name.
Perfect.
So I'll do that on mine.
Okay guys, so hopefully you're in. If not, let us know in the chat if you're having any issues. But what we're going to do first is we're going to just go to this top part of the screen here, where it says task 1. So in this first box here, it says exactly what we just mentioned in the presentation. So what do you regard as important about yourself? It could be to do with your gender, your nationality, are you a parent and carer, are you a commuter, anything that we've just mentioned there. We just want to kind of get a feel for who we've got with us today. And then how do you expect to be supported at Middlesex University? So is there anything that you're excited about that you might have heard about already? Is there anything that do you have any expectations, and do you have any concerns or worries about how Middlesex is going to be able to support you as well? So how you'll do that is there's just a bar at the side here, and all you need to do is click one of these little post-it notes. So you can choose a colour, and then you can drag it on there, you can make it bigger, and then you can just type in whatever you want to type in there. And then if you want to add another one, just double click, and that should allow you to add another one there as well. So if you want to have a little practice of that, then feel free. And as I said, just add anything in. I'm not getting the link. Let me just see.
I think maybe you have to pop your email in, but it doesn't really tell you to, it's not really complex to sign. You don't have to create an account. You just kind of put your email in.
Okay. People who aren't receiving the link, are you able to see the chat function that we have? Feel free to unmute and just let us know if you would like.
Yeah.
And also I've got why is this so small? So if you want to zoom in, then you can do with the little, let me just see where it is. Hang on. So there's a little box here with a zoom out and a zoom in button. So if you want to zoom in and out, then you can do that. And then, yeah, just, how can I delete? So all you need to do is right click on whatever you've written, and you should be able to delete it that way. Okay. Perfect. Looks like we're on track.
And if you find it very difficult to kind of like get on, we'll pop the questions that are on this like mural into the chat, and then we'll give people who can log on a second to kind of fill in what they think, and we'll pop the questions to chat for people who can't access. Is that cool with you, Regan?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
If you're struggling, then feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question, or put something in the chat.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. How do I insert my name?
So you should be able to open the link, and then it'll tell you to make an account, I think. So I think you just need to put your email address in. Let me see. Did you manage to open the link?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, I can't get it. Before he signed me out and I logged myself in again and I've lost the link.
I'm just going to send you the link again.
Do you want to put it
I'll
back
send the
in
link
the
again.
chat?
Thank you.
Yeah, there we go.
I got it now. Thank you. Oh, now it tells me to sign in. Just enter my email because
Yeah, if you just
says
pop in,
just pop in my email address.
Yeah, that's right. So as we said, guys, if you can't get connected onto this board, then put in your suggestions, things that you might write on this board, just in the chat, and we can add them for you so that we have a nice visual representation of everyone that's here.
yeah, I'll just see if I can find the questions and then I'll put them into the chat, and then you guys can just pop in your responses if you can't access the thing.
Cool.
Thank you for being patient though as well, guys. Sometimes technology just doesn't quite work.
Now
So
it's telling me to,
Yeah.
now it's telling me to create an account.
Okay, you might need to pop your email in and just make a little account.
Yeah. Yeah, it says I should create an account.
Okay, great. Great, I can see more people are joining now, so that's perfect. Okay.
Texas. Oh God. When the Texas.
So this is the first question that I'm putting into the chat. So you can respond to that one if you can't access Mural, or if you don't want to make an account. But yeah, you can just pop in your responses to that one, and then we'll go through them. Sorry? Oh, no, okay. But yeah, you could just pop in your answer to the question in the chat. And I think we can only give it another 5-ish minutes, just because you've got some other stuff to get through in the session.
I'm going to start a timer.
Yeah, now it's telling me to. I'm finding it difficult here.
Do you want to just pop stuff in the chat? Is that easier for you?
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think I'll do it that way.
Yeah, I'm just putting in the questions into the chat, guys. So if you can't get on, I'll just pop them into the chat.
Lovely. Thank you for submitting that into the chat. I'm going to pop it on our board for us. I can see that a few more people are just joining us now as well, joining the session. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're just doing a little task here, and we're thinking about what we regard as important about ourselves in regards to identity. And we're also having a little think about what we expect from Middlesex and what we think would be really great if they could support us within our identities.
Yeah, this was here before.
Lovely.
Got some lovely answers coming in on the chat, I can see.
These are great. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Question.
Yes, I picked the message yesterday.
Okay.
And this one's the question.
So everything that you're putting in the chat, guys, I'm just going to pop on the board as well so we can see it all nice and clearly from everyone.
Thanks, Regan.
So just keep popping them in there, and then I'll just keep adding them. That's perfect. As you said, guys, if you are on the board, just double tap to add a new post-it note. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Or you can use the toolbar at the side here to choose one.
Excuse me, I'm very confused. How do I get the link?
Hi. Okay, so I think the link doesn't work for some people, but I've put the questions into the chat that we're trying to answer, and I'll put them again for you as well. And basically, your response on the chat will put onto the online link. So don't worry about the link for now. Just answer the questions that I'm going to send to you right now.
Looking great, guys. We're getting lots of really cool answers on here now.
So that's question 1 again for everyone who needs it. And question 2 is coming up as well. Oh, there's some lovely responses. This is lovely, guys. Thank you. Okay, I think we're gonna. Are you ready to start?
We've got
looking at them in a couple
40 seconds.
40 seconds. Okay.
And then we can get cracking. Okay. These are some really lovely answers. I love it. Oh, there we go. That's the time up, guys. So we're just going to finish that task. Did you hear that little bing bong?
Yeah, I did.
That was great.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm just going to put
Thank you
this
so
last
much.
one on. And then we'll go to the next slide if we're happy to. So I'll stop sharing, and Belle, do you want to share the presentation again? Thank you so much for your patience with that, guys. As I said, there are some technical glitches every now and again because we are still trying to work out how we can facilitate these kind of training sessions whilst being online and not actually being in a classroom. Usually we would have done this with bits of paper and post-it notes, but this is kind of another tool that we're testing out. So any feedback that you have at the end will be really, really great, but we're going to crack on with the session, and we've got another task in a little bit, so hopefully that'll be a bit easier to get into.
1 second, sorry, my computer's just being a little bit slow.
That's okay.
Righty-ho. Okay, here we go. Right, let me just share the screen. Okay. Great. Hang on a minute, it's just, as you can see, it is a little bit slow, so it's just loading. There we go.
Perfect. Okay, so we just want to go through a couple of the things that you have put on there. Let me just go back to the board a moment there. So what's the first thing that we were talking about? Are we asking for excited? Yeah, okay. So does anyone want to unmute and let us know something that they might be excited about starting university? If so, then now is the time. First one to do it wins. But if not, then I'm happy to just read one. Does anyone want to go?
I'm Rosemary.
Hello. How are you?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm good. Hello. We first of all we thank you for your effort. But this time we're supposed to be meeting, but you make everything possible so that we can meet and then discuss what we're supposed to do. And I'm very happy about we are discussing this particular thing because it's bothering me particularly because we are going to meet different people. We are going to meet different kinds of people we never meet. So we need all this discussion so that we can build ourselves. So anytime we meet challenges, it will be helping us to go forward.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you so much for saying
Thank you.
that. We really appreciate it. Is there anything that you're excited about starting university for?
Yeah, I'm very excited because this is my first time going to uni in my entire life.
Wow! That's so
So,
exciting.
and then I'm a mother of 3 with one learning disability son. But all this one, I'm trying to move forward. I will not let anything stuck me. Just you can do it. So whatever people are saying or whatever people you will see outside, I just make a determination that age is never too late. So I just plan that I have to go to uni to do what I'm supposed to do. So I'm excited.
That's lovely. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's really great.
Thank you.
Would
Thank you.
anyone else like to share a concern? Does someone else want to unmute and just share a concern that they might have about going to university? Maybe your first time and maybe your second time, but everyone feels a little
Hello?
different time.
Hi. Hello.
Yeah, my name is Victor Baloke.
Hi, Victor.
Lovely to meet you.
It's okay. You know, like most of us, a lot of us have been out of the school curriculum, school activities for a very long time. And coming to meet this unprecedented challenge of learning via Zoom and all this correspondent learning is really going to be a challenge. I don't know how things will get back to normal, especially with the corona issues. So I would have wanted if there are other, ways we can go about it, if not all of the time, maybe once in a week or two, where students of the same department can meet, because I know that though I don't know the facilities, that maybe the facility is going to be a problem, with the social distancing and all of that. But I have loved a situation where you can meet your students of the same department, or in a an atmosphere where you can interact with your lecturer, with your fellows, classmates, and all of that. That's just, I see it as a challenge, and I would want the school to, see what they can do.
Yeah.
Especially for we who are new learners. I've never had this kind of correspondence learning. It's my first time.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case for everyone as well, because everyone's kind of just, even us, we're in the same boat. This is the first time that we're having to adapt, and we're going to have to work like this too. So it is going to be a challenge this year. Like we have certain things in place. Obviously, we have the communities and we have our liberation groups, and they're spaces where people get together, and there might be people from your course and from your department on them already, but they might be brand new people that you've never met before, and it's quite nice to meet people that aren't in your particular course as well. But I know that we also have student voice leaders, and they are representatives of each course. So every single course has one, and I know that they are actually working on something at the moment so that students on the same course can socialize as well, outside of their lectures. So hopefully that'll become available for you too. Don't quote me on it because it's not 100% at the moment, but there will be things in place so that you can socialize with other people, whether they are on your course or whether they're not. And that's why we kind of facilitate these groups, so that people can, meet new people and that they're not isolated. So that's an important part of our job.
We want to make sure that as best as we can, all the kind of services that we provide are online, so that, like, you know, I know what you mean when you say that, like, it is difficult, and it is difficult to kind of like chat to your, like, you know, classmates after class and, you know, have lunch with them, and like it is a very different environment. So we're going to try as best as we can to make sure that our services are online. And I'm sure that, like, you know, lecturers and people in your department, academics, program leaders, will also be thinking about that too. So maybe when your lectures start, there'll be opportunities for people to kind of like talk to each other afterwards as well. So I'm sure that there'll be some spaces where you can have that interaction with other people.
Thanks very
Perfect.
much.
Just for time, should we move on to the next bit?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Thank you so much for your feedback, guys. That was really helpful.
That was wonderful. Thank you. Hang on a minute. Sorry. Here we go.
Lovely.
Okay. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the activities, campaigns and events that we've got going on. So, you know, not only, as we say, are our communities there to exist to support people who have similar experiences, but we're also very proud of how active our community groups and our liberation groups are.
This is a lovely little mind map of some of the things that liberation groups get up to. I was very proud of this, guys. So you might be able to see some things there. You might be able to identify with some of the things in there. But this is just all of the activities and events that our groups kind of get up to. So as you can see, we do things for Black History Month, we do Disabled Liberation Festivals, we do LGBTQ History Month, and we do, you know, International Women's Representation Day and all that kind of fun stuff. We also, the LGBT group did a second chance prom this year. We do club nights, we do panel talks, there's lots of socials, educational workshops, coffee mornings, all that kind of thing. So these are some of the posters that you'll expect to see from our student group and from the committees that run them. So as you can see there, this disabled group did a online quiz night a couple of weeks ago. So that was a nice space for everyone to come together, just have a bit of fun. They did a quiz together, and there was, I think there was a prize as well at the end, which was mailed out to the winner. So that's, you know, one of the things that they do. Sometimes they do pizza nights, and they'll do movie nights. So I know that it's kind of hard to do movie nights at the moment, but there is an app called Netflix Party that some of the groups will be using. As you can see, we did Campus Pride for the LGBTQ plus community, and that, as I said, was a collaborative event between lots of different universities across the UK to celebrate Pride Month. So we did the International Day of People with a Disability. We do lots of different coffee mornings. We do wellbeing catch-ups. And at the bottom there, you can see a picture of our fair. And on that table is kind of some guides on how to access the tube if you have a disability. You can see in the top left-hand corner there that that's our free periods box. So that was one of the women's campaigns, and we offer free sanitary products across the university all year round. So I don't know how that's going to work this year, but at some point that'll be adapted so that it is accessible as well for students when they are going on campus if they do need to. And then the next ones. So in the top left corner, that was a campaign by the Women's Liberation Group as well, who were trying to, you know, say that women are more than just a pretty face. And it was actually an art competition, and the winner won a £50 Amazon gift voucher, which is really cool. Lots of different quizzes. There's the advertisement for the prom, as I said, and yeah. So as you can see, there's quite a range. You know, there's some quite exciting things, but there's also some nice, chill, supportive, relaxing sessions like tea and coffee, where you'll have more of a chance to discuss well-being and just make those connections with people. So yeah, a big range.
Yeah, I think for our events are slightly different. So whereas Regan works with students, so the students lead the societies and create the events, I do obviously work with students as part of my job, but I also organise places for them to meet people, for them then to kind of like think about their events. So I do a little bit more event organisation and a bit less like communications with students. So one of the platforms that we have as communities is our MDX Talks platform. This was started off the year before I started working here as a place for international students to talk, but we've had a few MDX talk sessions, and I'm planning to really launch it like in a big way this year. So it's for kind of any student who wants to engage in any kind of debate of social issues, or just want to set up like a talk and want to talk to other students about something that interests them. They can go through MDX talks as well. One of the things that I have every 2 weeks is my international hangout, and it's been going all across the summer and kind of since the pandemic started. So international students can come and chat to me once every 2 weeks for an hour, and it's called my little international hangout. But as you can see by the logo, it's a safe like space, so people can come and chat about anything they're worried about. We play Pictionary, we like talk about films, about books and games. It's a really nice environment. We can just chat to each other for an hour every 2 weeks. And I also run a research coffee club, which is a place for postgraduate research students to chat to each other, to meet their supervisors as well, and to meet people from other departments who they might want to talk to about future projects. So I do that. I run the event with the university, so with other teams that work with postgraduate students, and it's a really nice event. Everyone gets a cup of coffee, and there's loads of snacks and treats, and we just kind of sit out and chill together for a couple of hours. It's really lovely. Here's some pictures of the events that we've run. So this was a postgrad barbecue that we did a couple of years ago. As you can see, it's London weather, so it's not as sunny as it should be in the summer. But we love to run kind of big events like this on the green, in the green spaces in the evening. This is one of our research coffee club meetings. That's our Vice Chancellor, Nick Beach, who I'm sure you might be like hearing from or seeing his face around the university and online. And it was an LGBT History Month themed research coffee club event. So we sold some LGBT merch and had some leaflets out and stuff as well. There's also one of the images from our research coffee club. The person on the right is my intern, Janice, and she was my postgraduate intern. She did some really, really good work for postgrads. And that's from one of the midwifery wellbeing days that I run with one of my colleagues. So we find a space in the midwife's timetable, because I don't know if anyone on this call is going into a midwifery, but it's very, very busy, and it is hard to find a time for people to come together and do stuff that isn't academic based. So at this wellbeing day, we had a Tai Chi instructor, we made some bath bombs together, we kind of talked about like just our lives, what's going on. I've done some like craft workshops with some midwives. They've had some massages. That's really, really fun to do with them as well. And this is kind of a bad picture for lighting, but I supported the Royal Society of Biology with their events. So I also support kind of like external companies run their events with us. That was really fun as well. That's one of our MDX talk events. And that is one of my interns, Anne, who's my parent and carer student intern. And she ran a little Santa's, like a little like post box at MDX Market where people could put in little letters for their children to send to Santa. So stuff like that we kind of run. And anyway, back to you. So we kind of want to think about like what things that you'd like to have this year, what events you'd like, what kind of resources you'd like, anything you'd like us to put out for you. So I'm not sure, I think if people are still signing into Mural, we could go back to Mural, but I know that some people can't access it, so I'm going to put the questions in the chat for you, so you can answer them in the chat if you haven't made an account. So Regan, do you want to switch screens, or should we just keep on this screen?
Yeah, do you want to switch screens just so that those can see? If they do want to use Mural again, hopefully that'll work quite well again.
Absolutely.
Most people I think are logged in now, so it should be a little bit easier.
I'll just pop the questions in the chat as well for anybody who can't reach Mural, and you can just access them by writing your answer into the chat, and then we'll talk about them afterwards. Is everyone all right? Everyone doing okay?
Yeah, thumbs up. Okay, so yeah, this is the second task guide. So if you can get back to the board, then that would be amazing. I can see that some of you are there already, so that is absolutely perfect. And again, just in the second half of the board here, if you can just double tap to go another little post-it note, and then you can write your ideas on the board here. So we're looking at what events you might like to see. So you can repeat some of the ones that we already just mentioned, or you can come up with your own, and we'll try and deliver them for you this year if we feel that would be really cool. The resources is obviously like if you want any resources that you think would help you with your studies or would help you in your time starting at university, and any training that you might like to receive as students as well. then that would be really great for us to hear. So just go for it, guys. And I will try and keep up with all of these lovely ideas coming through as well. And I'll try and pop them on the board too.
Amazing. I can already see some really nice responses in the chat. So some coffee mornings, inspirational talks. I think a lot of people have put like motivational talks, things like that. I think that's a really good thing for students to kind of receive. I think as much as you like, it's really good to have activities on and for students to kind of come to social events, but I think it's really nice to like have someone come in and speak to you and motivate you to kind of, be successful in your studies and in your social life as well. I think that really helps some students, especially now where everything's a bit stressful. It's quite nice to come in and talk about things like that. Oh, Angela, I've just seen your question come in. I might send you a private message about that because there are different things that you can access. Should we give everybody about 2 minutes, Regan?
Yes, sounds good.
Just going to answer Angela's question. Alrighty, should we wrap up and check out what people have said in our little feedback activity?
Good, sorry.
No, don't worry. Hang on a minute, let me just, okay, great. I'm just going to share my screen again.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, guys. Hope
Thanks,
that was
everybody.
a little bit easier that time.
Alrighty, so would anyone feel comfortable sharing an idea for an event they had? If not, we can always read your answer out. But yeah, unmute yourself if you'd like to share an idea for an event. Anybody?
It's absolutely fine. So I'll just go ahead and read some of the yeah.
Hey, sta in uni.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah, go.
I don't know if you have it, but a cultural day. So basically, you would have different people show their cultures. Like, for example, I'm from the Caribbean, but people like to mix my culture up with different Caribbean islands. So to be able to explain there's a difference between the islands would be really nice.
Yes, that sounds
That's
really
lovely. Oh, sorry, Regan, were you going to say something?
yeah. So I was just going to say that we actually have like societies as well. So as well as these liberation groups and these communities that we're talking to you about today, we also have societies. So we have the African Caribbean Society, but obviously we do have MDXSU Black students as well. So that would be a really cool idea for them to engage with. I'll pop it down on the little board so that they can also refer to that, because I'm going to share these event ideas with them too once we finish this session.
Yeah.
So that they're doing things that students want to see.
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool to kind of talk to them, especially if you want like to talk about like exactly where you're from, and as you say, like, you know, something that like doesn't put like different cultures together, but like allows you the chance to talk about your culture. So, you know, you can, I think that'd be a nice way for you to kind of get into discussion where you can, like, you know, put on something or an event, or like let people know a bit more about where you're from. But yeah, culture days I think we've been looking at for a while, but obviously with the pandemic we couldn't do anything. I was talking to some people about having a culture day, but I'm sure we can organise something online, but that would be lovely. Thank you for telling us that.
Yeah, so some of the other ideas that we have on the concept board here is we've got debates, some coffee mornings, some inspirational talks, motivational discussions. We've got a suggestion here about sport. I think that's a brilliant idea. I think it'd be really cool if we could get our communities and liberation groups involved with the sports department that we also have at Middlesex University, and do some collaborative things so that they are specifically for those groups of students to come together and just get to know each other and relax.
Absolutely.
And that would be a really cool wellbeing activity too. And yeah, like things like supporting you with advancing in your academic studies, we can definitely set up some kind of support networks for that too. Don't have anything under ideas for resources, but we do have some things under ideas for training. Let me just zoom across to them now.
Wonderful. I'll have a little look too.
Ooh, so some training on scientific writing, that sounds really cool. And receiving feedback on work as well. So that sounds really, really good. Does anyone else have an idea for training that they'd like to share? That's all right if not, we've read a couple of ideas there. So that's absolutely fine. So should we move on to the next bit?
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much, guys.
Lovely. Yeah, that was really great, guys. And as I said, all of your feedback is going to go to our groups, and we're going to use it as well so that we can do what you would like to see this year and not just what we want to do, because it's really important that we get your feedback for that.
Absolutely. So this is a space where you can kind of find out a little bit more about our groups. As we say, like we have our groups on Facebook and things like that, but this is the pages on our website. So you can look at what our student groups are. So that includes the societies that Regan just spoke about, liberation groups as well, communities, and down at the bottom you can just see it, all the events that we have as well. So whether it's society, liberation group, community, that's all the events that we're going to have on. So I'm sure there'll be a lot more popping up over Welcome.
Yeah, and so to join any of the groups that we've discussed today, each of these groups have a page on our website, on the MDXSU website. So if you go to the MDXSU website, you can type into the search bar which group you'd like to join, and it'll actually take you straight there, so it's a little bit easier. And then there is a button on there that kind of says join this group. And once you join the group, you'll get all of the updates that the committee sends out, or that Bellsound sends out for the communities as well. So they will send out lots of different things about the events that they're running with their communities. And my committees of the liberation groups will send out the events that they're running too. So yeah, the best way to stay up to date with those things is definitely to join the groups on the website and become a member of them. But obviously you will also find out about them through social media, because they all have socials. So as it says, we have all of the Facebook pages. They all have an Instagram page as well. We also have an MDXSU Societies page where I kind of share every event that societies and liberation groups are doing. So that's a really good way to keep informed about what's going on. And then we have an MDXSU Societies Twitter, where I also share all of the events that are happening and different things that are going on in the uni. And you are always welcome to email me. So it's r.davison@mdx.ac.uk, or there's the society's email there as well, which you can see at the bottom of the screens there. And as I said, yeah, always feel free to pop me a message on the Facebook pages, on the Instagram pages, or through email as well. And I'll be happy to have a little chat with you about anything that you have any questions about.
Yeah, absolutely. And for our community socials, as Regan said, you know, joining the community and liberation groups on the website is the best way to get all the information through and to vote on new committee members when we have elections for all of our liberation groups. But for our communities, literally kind of sort of the website, if you just put MDXSU and then the name of the liberation of the community that you want to join. So if you want to join MDXSU Parent and Carer Students, just pop that into Facebook, MDXSU Parent and Carer Students, it'll come up with that. Yeah, and any of the other communities that I've spoken about as well. So I like to post things on there about activities that I'm running. Students sometimes post on there. Sometimes other teams across university, so student engagement team, you might have heard a little bit about them, and you'll hear more about them during all the orientation you'll have and a welcome as well. They post activities that they're doing in there as well, and students could just chat to each other. MDX communities, I have a little Instagram. It's not been too active, but I'm going to change it up and start putting some more stuff on. Very, very kindly, our main MDXSU Instagram for our union, and Regan on her Instagram sometimes retweets. I sound like such a granny. Puts on their stories on the events that I've got going on. So I like to share all my events, and we share each other's events on that. My Twitter as well, and also my email. So it's b.bale@mdx.ac.uk. And like Regan, you email me anytime, any suggestions for activities that you want or anything you want to get involved in. So here's our website as well, mdxsu.com. This is where you can just type in the Liberation Group Society, the community that you want to join, and find out a bit more about them, see our events that are going on, check out all the other services we provide, and they'll have all of our emails on our relevant sections. Anything you want to get involved in, you'll find an email there that you can contact, and you can ask us kind of any questions that you have. Now, that was so lovely. Thank you so much for sitting through that whole session. I know we're a minute over time, but I'm just going to pop into the chat a feedback survey that we've got, because we love to know how we've done, and we love to improve our sessions for you. So I'm just going to pop this link in that you can do at your leisure, and then just submit back. So it doesn't require, it doesn't take a second, but you don't have to do it right now. So I'll just pop it into the chat. Here we go.
Yeah, as I said, guys, I thank you so much for bearing with us today. As I said, we're still getting used to delivering stuff online, so any feedback that you can give us will be really helpful. It's been so lovely to see so many of you, like, truly really nice. I know, like, it's not the best time at the moment, so your feedback and your participation is so appreciated, and you've given us some brilliant ideas, so thank you so much for that. And it's been lovely to meet you all. Hopefully we'll see lots more of you in the upcoming future with our groups, our different groups that we have.
Yeah, thank you so much. Feel free to carry on with your day, and it was lovely to see you all. So we'll see you soon.
I'm going to hang around for the next kind of 10-20 minutes or so. So if you want to put any questions in the chat, then I'll just stick around and answer them for you. But otherwise, feel free to go and enjoy the rest of your day. But thank you so much, lovelies.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Wow, we've had so many people on the call. I can just see everyone's names.
I think we hit 49 at one point.
Thanks for letting them all in, Regan.
So much engagement. Oh, people are still trying to come in.
The session's over.
Sorry, Hans. Yeah, I'm just gonna think about and see if any questions come through.
Okay.
Then... Oh, stop recording now.